Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another video. This time we're going to be showing off the Americans complete series box set, as well as sort of giving some of my final thoughts on the sixth and final season of the series. I did previously review the first season, I think, in a Kingdom Hearts video. I reviewed the second and third. Then I reviewed the fourth as well. I meant to review Season 5 in its own video, but just kind of got lost with everything that's been going on right now. I really did like that season as well. Obviously, the Americans was always so consistent. It's one of the most consistent shows I've ever seen, and, I've seen a couple. Season 5 might have been my least favorite season, though. I don't know if that sounds bad to say, but it's really not that bad when you're talking about the Americans. My least favorite season is probably still great compared to 99% of other shows. It's about on par with like the first season for me, which isn't bad either. I really do want to revisit that one as well. But it's more on par with like the first two seasons, and I just think the Americans got increasingly better after that. And there are still some really good things about the fifth season, don't get me wrong. But we're mainly here to talk about the final season, at least some of my general thoughts on the ending and everything. As well as showing this box set. Why don't we talk about the box set first, because that's pretty much the title of this video. I really do like the cover. Very clear, very crisp. I like the dueling images. Kind of the parallels going on there. Really nice, really clean looking. Kind of formatted in the style of the show's intro and such. Pretty cool. Then you take out its slip case. It's kind of the same thing. Although you do get a nice little description on the show there. A bunch of pictures of the rest of the cast. One of the greatest drama series in television history, and I would have to agree with that. For me, The Americans really is one of the best shows I've ever seen. I think it's one of the smartest, one of the most well acted. I've said this before, but when I was watching it, it didn't feel like I was necessarily watching a show. It really immersed you into it. Like how you can enjoy a series, but it's kind of either a lesser quality or it's just a little more casual and you actively know you're watching a show, you know what I mean? With the Americans, though, I always felt really immersed into the scenarios and the circumstances, the characters, and their psychology. I thought all the development was absolutely incredible and very organic. It's paced incredibly well. It always felt like a slow burn, yet it always felt very methodical. And when things did happen, it was very intense. I absolutely love The Americans, and I actually finished it a couple weeks ago now. And I've been trying to start some other shows, some decent things that I probably will continue on at some point, but I just can't seem to get over The Americans yet. But yeah, I can leave this up here if you want to pause it and read it real quick as soon as it clears up. I think it's clear enough to read. Anyway. Then you open it up, and it kind of has like a basic disc thing. It's pretty, again, basic, but it's not terrible. Then don't worry, because you kind of gotta creak these things open a little bit, get them loose, and kind of flip them over like that. That's another thing. Some of the discs, especially at the end there, will get a little bit loose, but. And that's another thing, you better hope that the discs don't come out, because none of them look differently. Even though they're all the seasons, all the discs look the same. So if you get a disc 1 mixed up somewhere else, then you could be putting in the wrong one. So that's one issue I see with it. Yeah, you just gotta be careful. It sounds like it's gonna break, but it won't, but still be careful. I don't really want to take all the discs out right now, but kind of get a nice backdrop image of Philip and Elizabeth there. Pretty cool. So I still do really like having this, and if you do, I'll show a little bit of it. Okay. If you do take the discs out, you do get it, and the episode titles listed there. So it's nice enough. Although since it's a box set, I would prefer to actually getting descriptions or something else, but so it's pretty basic for a box set, but I'm still happy they released it. Although why they didn't release it on Blu-ray, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they only ever released the first season of The Americans on Blu-ray, so that kind of sucks. But still, very, very much a must-have. I'm very happy to finally have it. You can usually find it for about $35 to $60, depending. I grabbed this off of eBay. It was about 35-40, I think, at the time. I also did see it in Walmart at one point, but it's always, touch and go with that kind of thing, and you definitely don't want to be there now, so. But yeah, really nice to have that, and as far as the ending of the show, I was pretty happy at that. I thought it was pretty satisfying. I remember years ago when I wasn't taking shows as seriously, I seen this post about the Americans, and I thought I skimmed it and thought I already knew how it ended, so I was worried. But no, I was wrong, luckily. It was, it's hard to describe, because it doesn't go for like all the violence and death you're thinking it's going to go for, but it still has a pretty somber and, I don't know if I want to say dreary, but pretty somber, very quiet, and very character-focused ending in that final episode, which I think was very true to the show. With Philip and Elizabeth, deciding to go off to, Russia, for who knows long, having to, leave Henry behind and stuff like that because of, him actually having a life there. So it was a great development for Elizabeth to actually be willing to do that as well. And Paige initially going with them, then her getting off the train just when they're about to take off. That whole sequence, it's, heart-wrenching. As well as the scene where they talk to Henry on the phone without actually telling him what's happening. And as far as, we'll talk more about that in a second, but as far as Stan goes, oh man, definite parallels to like a Hank on Breaking Bad and stuff like that. That's what I was always anticipating. And yes, he finally found out he's finally picking up on a bunch of things in the last season. Then when he confronts him in the parking garage, oh man, incredible acting. Noah Emmerich didn't get enough credit for this. Matthew Rice definitely deserved his award. I gotta say, Kerry Russell definitely should have gotten one as well, though she is absolutely incredible throughout the show. My favorite character. But I loved Philip and Noah Emmerich, Stan. He might have been my second favorite character, I'm not sure. I could go either way. But I was always rooting for Stan. I was worried he's going to meet a similar fate to, certain other characters in these types of shows. And, part of you almost wanted that kind of clash, but, kind of that tragic, type of route. But, again, I thought it was pretty accurate to the show, and they didn't just do it just to shock people either. So when Stan confronts Philip and Elizabeth and Paige in the garage, so much is said that you wanted to have said. Matthew Rice and Noah Emmerich were so great in that scene, and just Noah Emmerich's facial expressions when Philip is telling him how much he actually did care and how Stan was actually and truly his one friend, I thought was really nicely done. So you can kind of see Stan questioning, almost being a little bit taken back by, okay, does this guy actually have real feelings? Holy shit. But then just everything, they put him through because of it. They should have brought up that Philip was the one who actually killed his partner in season 1, Amador. Although you could think that once Stan connected all those dots and from the couple, the reports on the couple over the years, you'd think that he would have realized that as well, and he probably did. But maybe it should have been directly said, but it was still an amazing scene nonetheless. And then, Philip and Elizabeth getting Stan to actually go take care of Henry, and, you see Stan going to Henry and everything, because Henry loves him the way Philip says he does, and that really got me too. I'm glad Stan survived, though. That was amazing. And of course, just a very somber ending, with them being in Russia and looking on. Something that you should think about, though, is that eventually it did become possible for travel to Russia be a little bit easier. So you could think in your mind that maybe Philip and Elizabeth were able to be reunited with Paige and Henry again someday, and it'd be very difficult because they were found out and such. But I feel like there was a time eventually that maybe they could have seen each other again. I think they did at some point in their lives. But for now, they're going to probably have to live quite a few, more depressing years in Russia. I'm not sure what that would have looked like. Some people think that their marriage would have fallen apart. Maybe it would have. But I think they've been strong enough they would have stayed together in some way. They do share, again, a deep connection, and that was tested so much in the last season or two, especially if they're varying philosophies, splitting them off even more. Philip actually starting to soften Elizabeth, having to go off on her own when Philip retired for his own good, because what it was doing to his, his soul, basically. And it finally starting to get to Elizabeth in a way she wasn't admitting at first, but just absolutely incredible. I can't say enough about this show. I know I haven't even scratched the surface of the details of it. So please, by all means, comment below and we can talk more about The Americans in depth. But I really did like it. I thought it was a good ending. Kind of went against the grain of what you might be expecting, and I really do think it was a good one. So yes, I'm absolutely already missing The Americans. I don't think any other show is going to top it for me. There are things about this show that I don't think I've ever seen any better. I think it is Breaking Bad level, and it's different. It's different, of course, but I think it's an incredible and excellent series that I couldn't recommend enough. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.